Let me take you back to 2008. I had a genius in my department. He came to me and said, Mijbil, I have a great idea. Let's sponsor Nelson Mandela's birthday in London. It was one of the highest points in my life. And even I felt his presence. That money we spent was a fraction of what we would have spent. We did it with a one-off. Remember when I first started, they asked me to speak at a conference. That was the worst presentation ever, but thank God I did it, because that broke the ice with myself. And reputation is everything for an organization. What is the company's brand worth? So when we do these initiatives, they want to drink your drink, they want to use your phone, they want to feel like, oh, ethically, I am happy to be part of this company.
You trust yourself enough to walk there and have a good show.
Yes.
And that alone can make a big difference. Just because you believe in yourself.
How do you continue and how do you win in a computer game?
Mistakes and losing again and over,
Until you learn the game and you win it.
You mentioned something about trusting yourself.
People will remember you long after what you did or said. You'll find many, many obstacles in your way. Don't stop. Push through, work really hard, learn how to communicate effectively, be genuine, be seen, be heard, and be known. That's the game of life.
Okay, thank you very much for joining, guys. Appreciate it. And for those that are new here, welcome to Journey to the Summits podcast, where you're going to get advice, strategies, and mindsets straight from those who've walked the path. We have a special guest today, Mijbil Alayoub. Thank you very much for joining, man.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. And we're going to be talking about corporate communication. We're going to learn a lot from him. So stay tuned.
Suleiman, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. What a great platform. I've been following you personally for the last few months, and you've taken over LinkedIn by storm.
I hope it's going to get way bigger. So I appreciate it. Yeah.
Listen, I really appreciate what you're doing for the craft, for us as a Kuwaiti. We're all rooting for you, and we hope we can get even bigger and bigger. So we can say that I was on Suleiman's show in like a month. And people say, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. I highly appreciate it.
Thank you.
So corporate communication.
Yes.
A lot of people are confused about this term. So can you give us like a small introduction to this term?
So corporate comms or corporate communications covers a variety of different aspects within communications. So everyone knows public relations, right? So you have PR, public relations, and you also have crisis comms, crisis communications, internal communications, external communications. Corporate affairs has an input in it also. Then you have investor relations. You also have governance. Corporate governance has an aspect within it. So yeah, corporate communications covers all of that. But what's important to understand behind corporate communications in Kuwait is that it's a term that's relatively new. It's been around for about 22 years. Marketing has been around a lot longer in Kuwait, in the corporate world. Comms or corporate comms started under the umbrella of marketing, and then under the umbrella of PR, and then it took off from there. So I'll tell you more about it as we go on in this interview.
All right. Okay. So let's start from the beginning,
Sure.
Growing up. Tell us a little story about growing up and then how you found your way to corporate communication. Like, give us the background story.
Okay, I grew up in the 70s and 80s. I lived all my life in Kuwait, but I also visited the United States a lot in the summers. My mother's American, Walda Amerikiya. And I'm very proud to say that. And my father is Kuwaiti, طبعاً. That gave me a different understanding of life, a truly bicultural approach to life itself, understanding how to deal with your mother's family and then understand how to deal with your father's family. And in many cases, I don't know how to deal with either one. I had to find a way to communicate effectively to both streams and have them communicate effectively back to me. And that was the beginning of my journey into corporate communications, PR, and communications overall. I remember back when I was 7 years old, I was with my grandfather in Kuwait, Yeddi, and he likes jokes. So I figured out early on that to be a jokester, a storyteller, commanded a reaction, a positive one from people. So that was another example, another reasoning behind my way of getting into that field. So yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Actually, like talking in two different languages.
Definitely.
And trying to, it is hard. Like when I learned English later in my life, it's so hard to convey a concept in two different dimensions, if that makes sense. It's definitely a skill. And so did you struggle more with English or Arabic or?
It's interesting. Back in the 70s and 80s, all our entertainment on TV and magazines and comic books were in Arabic. Majalat Saad, Majid, Television Kuwait, all the cartoons, animation was in Arabic. So and everyone spoke Arabic, all our cousins, and so everything was very Arabic. It was very easy to learn Arabic. I always spoke to my father, and he spoke to us in Arabic, بالعربي, and in English to my mother. And English was only there at school for us, and in the summers, and in the VHS tapes we used to watch the English movies. So this is reality. Back in the 70s and 80s, everything was in Arabic. So for me, it came very natural to think in both languages very quickly and very effectively. And also starting before a certain age, there's a study that was done many years ago and explains if you learn a language before the age of 3, it's ingrained into like a first language. Mm-hmm. So this is what happened with us, my brothers and I. But even before that, let me tell you something interesting about language. I know I'm diverging here, but I have a twin brother. Yes.
Yeah, that's new.
I didn't tell you that. It's Mijbil Alayoub. His name is Mijbil Alayoub. Allah khalik. And as a twin, even before you can communicate in an actual language, you have something called twin speak. This is a documented form of communication between twins. So I think at the age of 2, we used to babble, say gibberish words, but we understood each other. And my father and mother would look at us and we'd communicate, my brother and I together, and understand what we're saying and what we needed to say. And we'd laugh at things that they don't understand. That was also an introduction to communications. Yeah.
Wow, it's my first time hearing something like, a new language between twins. I've never heard of that before. It's really interesting.
Parents and twins will know this.
Very, very interesting, actually. Okay. So, who was your biggest influence in life in general? Like, who was the person that, always guides you and had like a big impact in your life?
There's, that question could be covered in different aspects of your life. So I would say overall, the biggest influence are 2 people, my parents. Amane, al-walid al-walida. Because growing up also in a bicultural household, sometimes you don't feel like you fit in here or there, صح? But we always fit in with my parents, and they always gave us the right tools to understand life itself. يعني بتكلم عربي شوي if it's okay. الوالد كان طلعنا حداق وايد فرضا يودينا دواوين يطلعنا. So he used to take us out fishing and take us out to do things that he would do with men, Duani and stuff like that, to introduce us, ingrain the Kuwaiti culture into us. And my mother would help us doing the American side. So she would take us to her friends that are also American, and we'd have gatherings and we'd understand that aspect. Al-Qidwa also, they taught us right and wrong, alhamdulillah. And these are to date, they are still my heroes and biggest influencers. Going on, different aspects of my career. I started in 96 working until today. I haven't stopped. Alhamdulillah, I've had different people, different parts of my journey that influenced me. So I'd give an example. Back when I was in KTV2, I was given the chance to excel by Allah Rahmah Khalid Gayslib. He was a powerhouse back then, and he helped us go ahead and do whatever we wanted with his support, da'mah. So we'd have TV shows which we produce, and with his support, we'd have on-air production with his support. So that's for KTV. When I later on, I went to MTC, which turned into Zain, and I was part of the group that helped transform the company into what it became. Alhamdulillah, from a single country operator to 23 countries with 23 operations. From 700,000 customers to almost 20 something million customers.
Inshallah.
We're the fourth largest geographical location company in the world for telcos at that time. And the leader behind that was Dr. Saad Al-Barrak Mohammed. He was a person who taught me a lot. He taught many people, but I was very fortunate to be part of the group. I was very close to him, and that worked to excel and to get Zain to what it was. And he believed in me, and he pushed me to even to limits I never thought I had. With his mentorship, but mainly with leading by example. And to this day, I remember I live by this mantra that he has taught me. He said, there's three things in a corporate life you should always remember. If you want to continue or you want to be remembered, three things. Be seen, be heard, and be known. To be seen, you have to be an employee people have to see who you are physically. You have to be present. Okay, and this is nothing, not knocking on those people that are working in the background that support the organization. But unfortunately, those guys are never seen, so they're never given the opportunity to excel like employees that are. Be heard. Let your voice be heard. If you have a point, no matter how how much pushback you get, make sure you get your voice heard. If you have a proposal that you are sure is going to hit and do well, even if you get pushback, go back, change the angle, and present it again until you get your way. And what happens in that case? You'll have either your immediate boss or a committee, or they all will see you pushing your point across, and then you'll be heard. And then finally, if you do the first two, you'll be known. So those are the three things that he taught me. I still believe and follow these rules. I call them the mantra. Dr. Saad, that's for you.
And it's very true, actually, because a lot of people work hard, but they're never seen or heard, as you said. And then they get frustrated because nobody's listening to them and nobody's, and they feel that other people are getting all the, promotions and recognitions and everything. And they just feel that it's theirs, but, but they didn't do the work of, I don't want to say show off. I would say showcase. Showcase,
100%.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm against show offing. Like if somebody is not doing anything and, and they just want to be heard and they're not really working, it's really bad for the organization.
I like how you use showcasing, show off. That's a great example. Showcasing your work is making sure your work is seen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And showing off is showing off something that you probably haven't done or done well. It'll take you to a point, but you'll stop at that point. For those employees that work hard, for those employees, it's never too late. Never too late. I would say no matter how much of an introvert you are, the reason why you're at this level in life is because you worked hard to get here. Okay. If you look inward and see how hard you work, use that power to push further, get out of your, the comfortable circle you're in, get out of that, just by a small millimeter, and day by day, try to showcase the hard work you've done. Many times these people work very hard and they present their work to their management, and manager takes, and they never get recognition. Or even if they get a recognition, it's a name. And they'll get that one-off bonus, spot bonus. Mm-hmm. But if that employee really wants to be seen and heard, he will be known. And what's great about it, it carries on. So even if you're thinking about moving on to another company, another organization, what happens when you go to an interview? They'll ask you, what have you done? Tell us about an example of what you've done and how you turn things around, for example. He could use that example, showcase. And he'll also have people to support from his old company to say, yes, I remember him. He has done that.
Because I saw him.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. That's the whole point of, showing your work. And
100%. I want to continue with the people that influenced me, if I may.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So that was when I got to Zain. And then further on, in between, I did work some other places. So I got to Ooredoo. And the person that got me into Ooredoo, Dr. Hamid al-Naimi, also was a great influence and a supporter. Because listen, you have to have these promoters and supporters in an organization to help your agenda. And theirs, let's be frank. But I'll give it. He chose me and he hired me, and he pushed for me. I made sure I paid back his graciousness and his support tenfold, and he supported me even further. But he is another person that I have to thank. Yeah.
I mean, all of these great people just show up at the right time. I think the universe has, its own way of showing, people at different times and time zones. It's interesting, but I don't know. I feel like everything is calculated in some way, like you exactly like you need to learn from this person, and then you need to learn from this other person, and they just
they help you along the way.
Exactly. They just carve you, basically.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's very, very interesting. Let's go back a little bit before we dive in. I want to talk about the Millennium Global Village Project.
Wow.
Yeah. Can you tell us more about that?
Wow. This is something that's dear to my heart. First of all, many people worked on this project. So I'll list as many people as I can remember. When I was this was 2006. Yeah, 2006, 2007. We had just we just had acquired a company that owned different telecommunications companies in Africa. So once we acquired those, we wanted to make sure that we could give back to the community and also get some brand recognition. We don't want to do the typical CSR, look at us, sponsorship thing. We really wanted to make a difference. So 2 or 3 people, 4 people maybe, thought of this idea and worked on it. It's called the Millennium Village. So the United Nations in Africa had an idea to support these different villages in rural East Africa. And these villages would be supported and see what kind of influence different aspects of life can give them to improve their living standards. So one of the things was obviously electricity, water, and telecommunications. So they approached us with Ericsson, and it was a tripartite agreement between us to invest into these villages and see what kind of socio-economic impact can be done on these lives and to improve them. And we said, yes, of course. We'll take care of the internet coverage and telephone coverage al hisabna. So we set up these connections for these villages in rural East Africa. So one of them was in Kenya, and this village had, I believe, cattle or cows, and they would go through a third party to sell them in the city. And between them to the city is like 8 hours by. And back then they couldn't speak to anyone. So they'd get to the city and say, okay, this is the price, take it or leave it. But they'd have to go with that price. When we introduced the telecommunication aspect, all of a sudden he had a phone. And he had SMS. And he'd call his friends that were in the city and say, can you find out what the prices are? And then they'd call other farmers. And then all of a sudden improve the cost by hundreds of % return on investment for them. In 6 months, they're able to make enough money to build a school, a infirmary, a clinic, and then the village grew. And then they're able to have wells and electricity and what have you. This was initially thought would take about years. It took place in less than a year.
Wow.
Yeah, so we saved people's lives, we improved people's lives. And it wasn't just a one-off experiment. Let's try this and that's it. To this date, they're thriving in their big communities, and it's helped a lot of people in their lives. So what we did was we did this, and then we did an early ESG study on it, okay, or sustainability study, and we presented the study at it's called the World Congress for Communicators. It happens once a year, and at that point, I think it just started taking place in Barcelona. So we went and we had a press conference, and it was huge. And it was the first time we got coverage around the world. We didn't have to pay for the coverage. It was such an interesting story. We got picked up. So we were on the map. People saw what we're doing. Africans saw what we're doing for Africa. So they saw how our brand really resonated with them. And I know you're going to ask me the next question is, what else have we done in Africa, if I may?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's the Lake Victoria initiative. And this is something that literally saved lives. Lake Victoria is the biggest freshwater body in Africa. It's huge. It's bigger than many oceans.
The Nile River,
yes,
yeah,
exactly. The issue, it's such a large body of water that it can have these huge storms and waves and everything. And many fishermen die back then a year. It was estimated 1,000 fishermen died a year because they couldn't call for help. It's so big. There's no, we went in again with the United Nations and Ericsson to set up towers in the lake in different locations. And after it was done, it saved lives. People were saved. And this is something we're proud of doing. Alhamdulillah. It's such a very interesting way of thinking of it. We live here. Na'im. We never think of these things. We pick up the phone, it works. If we get in the middle of Maradim and something happens to your boat, boom, big telephone. Immediately you have the Coast Guard, there. They never had this. Now, I mean, that happened in 2008. They had it since then.
Wow, it's really amazing. And I like what he said about taking things for granted. We do take a lot of things for granted, yes, for sure. Yes. Especially like these small things, like you can call anytime, and other places, just like the village that you talked about, and Lake Victoria, and people die because of communication issues and these things. But when you say corporate communication, how can you tie it to the things that you do? It's like saving lives, but in what In what ways?
Okay.
For example, like when you put towers and you put, it's more of like, connection and phone,
Yes.
for phone companies and
Yes.
these things. But where's corporate communication in this?
Excellent question. I should have started by when you asked me about corporate communications. For me, if there's one word that sums up what comms or corporate communication is all about, and that's reputation. And reputation is everything for an organization. The number one indicator for reputation is your brand and your brand equity. Okay, what does that mean? What is the company's brand worth? As you see, Nike, Tesla, these brands at Apple, the brand value is more expensive than the actual company in some cases. So again, it's reputation. And what fits into reputation is your brand, is what you do overall. So you hear these buzzwords, ESG, sustainability, and that CSR, corporate social responsibility, right? This is done to improve your brand image. So corporate communications, one of the aspects underneath it, one of the pillars is your ESG, sustainability, and CSR. It's managed by corporate communications. When we do, when I was different projects within corporate social responsibility, the effect you get, the positive knockoff, is this. So there is a link. So when we do these initiatives, people see it, the reputation is improved, and then people want to be part of your company. They want to drink your drink. They want to use your phone. They want to feel like, oh, ethically, I am happy to be part of this company. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, you summed it up really good. Like you're basically the reputation of the company.
Of course.
Bottom line, and it's, I heard it's like with the other pillars, like it's not just the reputation, it's the connection between different departments inside, and like this the part of reputation deals with the people outside of
exactly
the company, and then there's internal communication,
yes,
which deals with like different departments and these things. So you're working on two sides with corporate communication.
You work on many sides. So what I like to call them as stakeholders. So multi-stakeholder approach, that's what corporate communication is all about. You have to link to all these different stakeholders, people that have a stake in what you do and what the company does. So one of the most important stakeholders you have are your employees. Okay? These guys are your first line of defense. They're your brand ambassadors. They're your sellers. They're your people that really they promote, your net promoters. Okay? Those are extremely important. And how do you keep them aligned and informed and educated on what's happening? Through a proper corporate communications department. You have to have your employees understand the product before that product is launched. You have to have this employee trained on possible crisis before a crisis happens. You have to ensure that your employee is trained on how to speak to the media in case the media speaks to them. And what have you. But also internally, what gels everyone together is the corporate communications department. So if you have an internal newsletter, all the employees are linked. Internal portal, all the employees are connected. Events, internal events, all the employees attend. So you're managing all of that under one of the most important aspects of corporate communications, which is their internal comms. Right?
Wow, it's like, I feel like it's like the veins, and like it's the artery of the whole company. It's very important actually to keep everyone together, gelled, working, and with the perfect rhythm and everything, making sure everyone is on track. And
100%. And don't get me wrong, we're not the ones who come up with a message all the time. Okay, I say we because I'm still in the mindset of internal comms head. We ensure that we get the proper messaging from different departments to the right people. And I'll give you an example. If HR have an important announcement for employees regarding a special holiday or a change in a policy, we are the ones who take that across. We ensure that we'll take the message. We'll make sure that it's appropriately written, okay, and aligned with HR. And then we'd use the different channels we have, depending on what type of communication is, to the employees. So support the content, manage the line of communication, and ensure the content is received effectively. Another thing we do is we help HR in improving employees' well-being, how they feel at work. Simplest thing we do is, you've heard of the word silos, right?
No. I mean, maybe I've heard it before, but I'm not familiar with the... Yeah.
So in many companies, they're organized where different departments work by themselves. شيء طبيعي, normal. Okay? That's fine if you have a proper line of communication between these departments to other departments. Okay? It's not fine when you don't have that set up effectively. So if you have silos, they work alone in a silo.
Oh, okay. Hey. Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So we help reduce that level of miscommunication and misunderstanding, and tie the departments together better and reduce the silo mentality.
Yeah, which is very common at many places.
Of course.
I know many places that have, departments working by themselves, and everybody, I mean, employees don't even know where they're heading. And, I've had that at some point.
Yes.
It's, it can be very frustrating, actually.
Extremely frustrating. And depending on the strategy of the company overall, from the board to the executive to CEO and the team, the strategy has to reflect or be reflected effectively through each department. And the way to do it is to have a proper internal communications, messaging across. Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk more about your stories.
Okay.
Nelson Mandela.
Huh.
Tell us about that story. Yeah.
So let me take you back to 2008. Nelson Mandela was turning 90 years old. طبعا منو ما يعرف نيلسون مانديلا. Okay. I had a genius in my department that covered Africa. So back then I had corporate communications Africa, corporate communications Middle East. Someone in charge of Middle East and someone in charge of Africa. And I managed both departments teams.
Under what company was that?
Zain.
Okay.
And someone, he just recently passed away, dear friend, Allah Rahmah, Mwambo Wanandega. He was Ugandan, French, British, and guy who worked for BBC many years ago. Then he worked for the company that we acquired, Celtel, and then he eventually came to us from the transfer. And anyway, long story short, he was amazing. He helped a lot with Africa and understanding and how to improve communications there. And we were the operation in Africa, 60% or 70% were different brands, and we wanted to rebrand نوحد البراندات الموجودة to Zain. And imagine the company we bought, Celtel, was very well known. The brand equity, which I told you about, the worth was very high. No one knew Zain. So he came up with an idea. I told him, listen, I'm challenging him, guys. We need to do this. We have a few months left. We're going to be rebranding. We don't lose that equity, and nas ma yarfuna. They'll think a third company or fourth company is coming in, and they'll never come to us. So he came to me and said, Mijbil, I have a great idea. Let's sponsor Nelson Mandela's birthday that will take place back then in Hyde Park in London. I said, Sujik, really? Seriously? Okay, but how? He said, let's approach the organizers and see if we could sponsor them. And I said, okay, but if we do this, we need to ensure that many people in Africa see us so we could have that effect. And the whole idea is we would have the sponsorship seen by the countries that we were rebranding and they all know Africa, and Nelson Mandela represented them all. So when they saw that we would sponsor, they'd remember the brand. And when we rebranded, that equity from one company would move over in a positive way to Zain. So we did this. We spoke to the organizers, and there was only 2 sponsors. They didn't want many sponsors to this event. It was us and Mercedes-Benz. And دفعنا مبلغ ما شاء الله. A big amount I can't disclose. What I did though, I said, let's have another agreement, okay, with an agency that could connect this concert, okay, to the terrestrially to the countries through their normal TVs, and we'd pay for that link up with the satellites. Back then, it was not easy at all. So we had so many satellites covering Africa's huge. And also East Africa and some of West Africa. But we got a company that helped us come up with that solution, the 2-hour event. This event had Will Smith and Jada Smith as the hosts, had many singers come in, including Amy Winehouse and different singers. Do you remember also Said Ismail, the guy who sang "Give Me Hope, Joanna"? So
I never heard of
Ismail. Anyway, he sang a song about Joanna. It was Johannesburg, about apartheid and how. And he came back to sing 20 years later, which hasn't sang the same song after. Mm-hmm. So the whole idea was a concert. The money that came out of the concert would go and support different initiatives in Africa. We met طبعا Nelson Mandela, and it was one of the highest points in my life. And even I felt his presence and how amazing this person was and what he did for everyone in the world. Forget just what he did for South Africa, everywhere in the world. Everyone knew him. He was at that point a supporter at all people and to all people. He embodied a vision what people can be and what the world could be. So we also had 100 or 80 people to 100 people coming from these different parts of Africa. They visited London at the time. We took them on tours and everything, and we took them to the event. We had an amazing event. It was a 2-hour concert in Hyde Park. Must have been like 60, 70, thousands of people covering all of the Hyde Park. And when it was over, the next day, all the magazines and all the newspapers were talking about this concert in the countries, right? And everyone knew what we did. When we did rebrand, everyone knew us because of this event. And we had a questionnaire. We asked people after the rebrand, how did you hear about us? And they said, Nelson Mandela, the concert. That money we spent was a fraction of what we would have spent had we had to go country by country by country and do specific events to get the brand up. And it would take us months and months and months. We did it with a one-off. That's it. So it was a team effort. We believed in it. It was supported by Dr. Saad Barak, who was one of my amazing mentors. And we worked very, very extremely hard to get it done because we had just had a few months to
prepare everything again.
Yeah.
And it is scary because you said you paid a big amount of money, yes. But didn't you feel a risk?
Of course.
Like something, you know what I mean? Like, what if this doesn't work or nobody?
So yeah. we always have an ROI, a risk, but a risk assessment. You know, we saw the numbers. We did a simple assessment. None of those fit. But at the end of the day, it's my call and the CEO's call. And he signed off. I signed off. رحت وقعت على كتاب لا شو المبلغ. طبعا sorry, my as they say in Kuwaiti, my hands were on my heart.
Yeah.
I was worried, and it worked out. Alhamdulillah, it worked out, thank God. And that was one of the turning points in my life, where I was given the opportunity to spend lots of money, and it wasn't a gamble. I really believed in it. I had people that believed in it, and we had superiors, our bosses, believed in it. And it was one of the most impressive projects I've been a part of in my life, because like I said, we asked people in these countries, how did you know about us? Answer, Nelson Mandela.
It's like a quick hack, you know?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's very smart, actually. Okay, let's go to your company, Digify Digital. Yeah,
yes.
Digify Digital. And can you talk with us about, like, what do you do in your company? And
yes, it's not my company. Okay. I don't own equity. I'm a part of the company in terms of associated with the company.
Okay.
Yeah, association. So I'm a principal consultant for the company. And let me tell you about how it was established, the company. It was established before I got there by Badr al-Badr and Ali Asghar, two individuals that worked in the marketing communications department in Ooredoo. So I worked with these people closely. And when they left, they started this company, mainly focused on digital advertisement and some content creation. And it took off, mashallah, and did really well. When I was leaving Ooredoo, I was approached by a company that needed some support. I can say its name, it's Pace. Pace is one of the biggest architectural firms in the region. It's built avenues and all the hospitals you can see here, and in different countries also. They needed someone to come in and revamp their communications department. And they asked me, Mijbil, would you please come in as a consultant and support us? And طبعا my first answer was yes. And then توهقت ما عندي back office support. I spoke to Badr and they said, we would love you to come in and we'll support you. So I was then be able to just focus on my work, and all the support in the back was done by them, and they took care of that aspect. So it was great. I revamped their comms department, rebuilt it from bottom up, new policies and procedures, new JDs, hired new people, what have, alhamdulillah, it's doing well now. And that was the precursor to me joining with them. And then we worked on together how I could provide services for communications for Digify's customers. So since then, I've been working on promoting myself and Digify and getting business, but what companies need. And it's easy because it's a niche market or a business that I'm in. You have many consultants in Kuwait, Shattar, Fahmin, educated, but mainly focus on strategy, business, HR, and strategic marketing. Okay, I could say. Not many out there who focus just on corporate communications. So which is also good. So when I go into an organization and say, listen, do you need any support in terms of communication? The first answer is, no, we're fine. It's like, oh, really? Well, are you prepared for a crisis? Huh? No. How's your internal communications? Do your employees, are they connected? Do they know what's happening? Well, not really. Then we start a conversation and say, okay, I can provide you these services. And that's what I can't afford you. Fine. Let me give you a return investment and show you how what I do for you will improve your bottom line. And that's how it goes. That's how it works. Well, alhamdulillah, you build a brand for yourself. You show your work and your worth by providing them with services that they can't get otherwise. Doesn't mean that we don't pitch many times and it doesn't go through. Yeah, that's the line of work we're in. But with the ones we do get through, it's just the next win. Because I know my worth and I understand what I can provide in services no one else can. If you want someone who's an expert in communications, who's going to come in, improve your business, that's me. Sure, you could hire the people abroad. Bring in the person from a big agency from Dubai, a British guy who's worked in the business many years, or a person from Europe. He cannot provide you with the expertise and the experience and the knowledge that I can provide also. And I'll tell you why. You have expertise and knowledge when it comes to work, صح? But not many people have expertise when it comes to culture. We started this whole conversation about how I grew up, right? Well, Umar Killa, so 50 some odd years, that has provided me with a wealth of cultural understanding, attunedness, and knowledge to be attuned with you. Okay? You have created a great business, right? Now, I could come in and say, Suleiman, this is your goal, right? This is your corporate strategy. This is what you're trying to achieve. Okay. How can I help you expedite that journey? How can I help you inform the proper stakeholders who you are? How can I improve your communication with the stakeholders and the people you work with to improve your business? I can provide you those services because I'm a Kuwaiti. It's Kuwaiti. We live here. We understand what's going on. And no matter how much expertise, technical expertise that comes in from abroad, they'll never compete. They won't know what makes you think. I am way advanced than they are. For them to get to where what I know is they'd have to be with you for months on end. Do all the research, understand you, understand your company, whatever. We hit the ground running, jogging, and the finish line is right there. This is what I use to dissect a person in the first 5 minutes. Okay. I ask them a line of questions. I see their reaction. I see how they look at me, how their body language is, and the way they answer. That that starts me thinking I understand the person. So when I first met you, I think I spoke to you on the phone first. They get Alex message on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Okay. So I saw how you spoke to people. So I saw, by the way, this camera is catching what you do every time, and it's natural. Which the way you act. It's not a trained. This is you. طبيعتك. شخصيتك. So I know who you are. I know that you're comfortable with what you're doing. I know you have a understanding of the people you speak to very well because of how many times you blink, how many times you look, how many times when you think you don't look left and up, it comes natural. So I know that you're a natural, thoughtful, understanding person. That's emotional. Emotionally, you're there. Okay, your EQ is top. MashaAllah. So emotionally intelligent. I know that. And when I sat with you and I had a few conversations, and you had your laptop open, right? So I looked like, oh, okay, guy جاهز. He's working. So I know you're a hard worker, you know, and that obviously, so your knowledge is there. And that leads you to the one last aspect, which is culturally understanding the people you're with. You told my questions of why are you doing it in English? It's not your first language, صح? Your reply was because I want to differentiate myself and I want to make sure I choose people that can talk this language and talk to the public and the people. And that's your cultural understanding. So خبزتك بأول
5 seconds.
5 seconds.
Appreciate
so
it.
Yeah. So going back to what I bring to the table is that understanding. So the knowledge is there, but it can be taught. What can't be taught quickly is the cultural aspect. And that's what's interesting about myself. And that's what I always think. Alhamdulillah, it's something I have. Throw me into European American culture. I'll understand and speak and work efficiently, effectively. قطني هني, same thing. Alhamdulillah. So this is something not a lot of people can compete with.
Yeah, exactly. You need like more than one skill. It's like combination of different aspects, as you said, like body language and psychology and knowing the signs and then knowing the culture. And it's a lot of little things.
Mm-hmm.
Some people think that it's just like some points and I'll just go through them and that's it. That's false. When it comes to people, like people are different always. And they have like different states and different like emotions at different times, and the way it can get complicated.
Yes.
Yeah.
But interesting.
Exactly. Very interesting. And the more you do it, the more you sharpen the skill.
Yes.
It needs practice.
Of course.
And I like your point when you said something along the lines of being afraid of rejection.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are afraid of rejection, so they don't go and do their stuff. They're just afraid, I'm going to get rejected and this and that. But and they waste all of their time, all of their life, not trying because they're afraid to look. I don't want to use this word, but dumb. I'm afraid to look dumb or afraid to look silly, or that's a major concern people have.
So when it comes to human beings, we're taught from a very young age to listen and not to make mistakes. هذا غلط.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that my parents allowed me to push the boundaries. Okay, طبعا you have to be civil. You have to know what the proper thing to do. But I think you should allow children to push the barriers, the boundaries, because that's what's going to give them the skill set in the future to be the best communicator, to be the next CEO, to be the best host. And this is something that's ingrained in me, alhamdulillah. We have to focus on not focusing, if it makes sense. Can I say that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so don't get into your head, but get in your head. Don't sweat the small things, but focus on them. And it might seem counterintuitive, but it's not. And I'll give you an example. I am a very good, alhamdulillah, public speaker. I like to engage audience. It really, really empowers me. I love seeing the reaction when I say something interesting, funny. I get a reaction, clapping. I really, really engage. And it could be hundreds, even thousands of people. And I remember when I first started, I was so scared. الحين عطنا ميكروفون قوم تحكي. Fine, I could do it in a second. I started many years ago. I was because of my position, they asked me to speak at a conference. So I had a million notes, and I thought I was prepared. I still remember this. I got up to the podium, all these notes حاطهم مرقمين وشي طاحوا. توهقت. And I looked out, and there must have been 300 people, 400 people in front of me. I don't remember to this day what I said. I was just babbling, saying whatever. All I thought I was going to die. وفعلا, that was the worst presentation ever. But thank God I did it, because that broke the ice with myself. And after the fact, I'm like, oh my God, I'll never do this again. But then I remembered, hey, I got up, I did it. وصلت المرحلة. خلاص. لما كاهي. You can continue. You got to this point. So since then, I was able to MC many events, speak at different conferences, And just recently at the PR conference, there was an issue where the host had to leave early because of she had a flight, and they asked me to close. I had no notes. I remember the names of the speakers, but I didn't know which. Forgot what. Anyway, I didn't have anything prepared. I said, "Yeah, fine. I have the microphone." So I got up to the point where I got on stage. I had no idea what I was going to do or say, and it came to me when I looked at the audience, and I said, "Hey, wait! No one really engaged the audience. Ask a couple of questions. Let me get the audience engaged at the end and have that resonate with them forever when they leave. Oh, I remember the PR conference. I remember Mijbil's closing part. And what was it? I got them, all the speakers lined up, and I did 2 exercises. One was that you have 5 seconds to talk about anything within the conference. So one by one. And I was leading it on and looking at the audience, and everyone was engaged. Oh, this is interesting. This is different. And then I was walking and one person speaks, so I'd actually lead them through. Once I was done, I said, okay, everyone has one word to say going from right to left, and has to be a cohesive sentence about this event. And they all said the word, and it was a full sentence. And everyone's clapping and everyone's enjoying. So what happened right there? Because I was very comfortable with myself to be up on stage, extremely comfortable, those thoughts and ideas came in quickly. I was able to quickly think in a matter of milliseconds on how and what to do. And it was done, alhamdulillah. And I still had I saw someone the other day who was at the event, like, well, I bet that. We had no idea you could do that. That's awesome. It's great. Well, this is what you get from trying. Had I not messed up that first time in front of the hundreds of people, I would not be able to do what I can do today. So this is something for everyone to go push ahead, try it. If you don't make those mistakes, there's no way you'll make the positive returns and aspects of life.
Exactly, and you have to push the limits, as you said. Then make yourself uncomfortable, and
yes,
that's the only way you're gonna get good at what you're doing. No shortcuts.
Only way, and there's zero shortcuts. The more mistakes in life you have to make on purpose. The more learning situations you get and push you ahead. An example is, we've all played computer games. How do you continue and how do you win a computer game?
Mistakes and losing again and over. Yeah.
Until you learn the game, and you win it. That's the game of life.
Wow. I like that example. Yeah, it really captures the whole idea. Exactly. And you mentioned something about trusting yourself, which is really good. When you say, like, you go out on a stage and you're just content with yourself, you love yourself, you trust yourself enough to walk there and have a good show.
Yes.
And that alone can make a big difference. Just because you believe in yourself.
Yes. You have to enjoy it too.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's the most important thing. To believe in yourself, you have to be comfortable. And to be comfortable, you have to enjoy what you're doing. So if those fit together, you'll be able to do whatever you want. You also said something earlier about how everything comes together at the right time. Is it luck? Is it this? You control the environment around you. And if you're comfortable in it and you're enjoying it, you could do whatever you want.
Exactly. Yeah. You project what you have inside.
100%.
Exactly. Yeah.
100%. And by the way, اللي يقول لك على التمثيل, this is your true self. So you have to be real. You have to project your true self. Mm-hmm. This is Mijbil. This is what you get. I don't say, okay, I'm done with the podcast. I am an extrovert. I'm a person that's comfortable in my skin. I love what I do and I enjoy life. And this is what I do. And this is Mijbil. Ask all my friends. And this is again growing up and early trying to get a reaction from people. And early on in life, I figured it's like, okay, if I can do that, no matter where I'm at, what I'm doing, it'll help me in life.
Wow, that's beautiful, man.
Thanks.
Really beautiful. Let's talk about different boards.
Okay.
You worked in Barcelona for example, and internationally. Can you tell us about that experience?
Sure.
Yeah.
So we own the company in Barcelona. It's called Bioconservation. It creates different types of filters for environment, the air, and industrial, mainly industrial. And the interesting part is we had acquired the full company 5 years ago. All of a sudden, I was a board member in Kuwait, representing a Spanish company. That was insane. The corporate governance behind owning a company in Spain is so intricate. So many different meetings you have to have, and lawyers and all that, and yeah, to the point where like, we're not even a listed company. That's what you have to do. And then the Spanish really want to engage with the owners. So we have to be there at the Christmas parties, at this event. So we always have to be seen, even as board members. And that was really interesting. So I was privy to a new culture and way of doing things, which is really interesting. And I love the Spanish mentality. They're very similar to Arabs in a way, because obviously the influence, but also their own cultural lifestyle. And so internationally, I learned something new. Really focus on corporate governance. Another part of governance, which I am currently in, is I'm a board of trustee member at AUS, American United School, owned by KIPCO, which is a UEC, United Education Company, under KIPCO, which owns our school. And 2 years ago, I was asked to join as a board member, the first board of trustees. And we've been very fortunate to be able to improve the school with what we have introduced. We're 9 members, and we work very well together. We challenge each other. We ensure that we really push for the betterment of the school. It's obviously it's not a paid job, but my kids go to the school, so I want to ensure I have an interest to ensure that I work well with the board to ensure the school is the best it could be. And but when it comes to education and corporate governance for education, we had to be trained. And I ain't from a corporate world, right? So corporate governance for me is very easy to understand. In a corporate world, in a listed company. In a school, it's a different reality altogether. So I remember the first 3 months, we had someone come in, an expert in corporate governance for education, to train us. And that was 2 days of intense training, how to set goals, how to create proper strategy, your vision. It was really interesting. That to this day, it's something I learn every day, and I'm very happy to be part of.
Was it way different than the corporate
Yes.
world? Way different.
Well, I wouldn't say way different. There's obviously similarities. You have owners which you need to appease, okay? And then you have your executive positions, almost like chiefs, okay, that have to report to you. Other than that, it's all different.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. It's given me an input on education, understanding of education, which I never had before. So this is something I pushed myself into. Like, yes, let's try this now.
Yeah, and you learn something new.
Of course, of course.
Yeah. Do you think anything from the education system can be applied in corporate?
Definitely. That's a very interesting question. because of the corporate governance aspect of education, you really need to make sure that what you're doing is 100% right, because you're affecting the lives of kids, not just in the school, but affecting their future till the end. What we do now to support the school will have a direct impact on the next big scientist, imagine, or the next politician that's going to affect things around the world, or the next engineer. Imagine that. If we divert by one aspect or one way of doing things and affect that person, maybe he'll never become that world-renowned engineer or scientist or politician or journalist or what have you. So we need to make sure 100% what we're doing is effectively well. So we meet hours and this is on a board level. So we're really focusing on this strategic aspect. When it comes to an organization, on that side, it's cut and dry. You have, for example, in Kuwait, the Capital Markets Authority that sets the different rules and regulations for corporate governance, different committees, different things. So it's so easy. And you don't even think about, obviously, you do think about the company overall, but you don't get to the level of the employees. That's done, strategically by the executive committee, shown the CEO and his team. So there is a disconnect there. When it comes to education, no. And you have a direct influence.
I see. That's very interesting, actually.
So I wish it would push over to the corporate world. They could learn a lot from that.
Yeah, especially with like the vulnerable, like kids.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to make sure that they understand. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember when I finished. We just in the process of hiring a new head of school. Oh my God. It's the toughest, one of the toughest things we did as a board of trustees. But we engaged with all our stakeholders. Okay, we got input from the teachers, parents, and the students, and that influenced us on, because we had three. We narrowed down to 3 candidates on which one to choose. So we engaged the whole community, brought them in and said, listen, we're not going to do this in a bubble or in a silo. Remember I said, we're going to make it very transparent. We're going to get you involved. And once we choose that person, you'll feel that you had an impact in that choice.
It's a really good way to look at it. But are there challenges with that thing? Like, have you ever dealt with like some departments or people that were difficult or they want? What do you do in these situations? Like,
so you deal with what? Okay, I can't get into details, but what you do is you set goals, okay, and those goals have to be met, and you measure those goals. And if the people involved that are actually running the school don't provide you with the right input on how they're working, and they're not ticking the boxes effectively, you give them chances, okay? You try to support them more, but eventually get to a point where it doesn't work, and I just told you we're hiring someone new, so I guess they could put one-on-one together.
Okay. Makes sense. All right, let's go to the other question. What trends do you see in corporate communications? Like major trends?
What's the biggest buzzword in business in the world?
Money.
Oh, no.
That's it.
Yeah, that's a given.
Yeah.
No, the latest one.
Marketing.
AI.
Yeah.
So that is the number one trend in corporate communications and marketing communications as we speak. I'll give you an example. In the past, if you're going to write a press release, you need a proper copywriter. Okay, and you'd have to ensure that it's written with all. The copywriter had to have an understanding of your field, your industry. So you'll find an industry-related copywriter. someone, if you're in the pharmaceutical business, someone who knows the pharmaceutical business. In the banking, someone who knows banking. Telecoms, you don't need that anymore. Input words and commands, and that press release is ready. It's not 100% there. I want to say even 60% there. You really have to understand the business to prompt AI to create that press release. And no one's there yet. I think about only 20% of people who in comms can effectively do it now in the world. Because you really have to be an expert in that to create an expert in that, understand the business. So anyone, you can prompt it to write any press release, but there's so many mistakes, and you won't be able to catch it if you're not an expert. But you have that tool, and that's such a disruptive tool. It's there for people to use, but it's being used inefficiently, and at the moment. You'll still need the old copywriter and to continue for another, I think about a year, 2-3 years, but that's going to be obsolete. And then also when it comes to coming out with different proposals, presentations, AI has covered all that. So we're going to reach a point where some of the work that people do for comms will not be needed by an individual. Okay. And that's reality. So that is the big disruptor. AI is going on that. So that's the number one trend I see happening. And a lot will fit into it. And it's still early days. Even if say, we have ChatGPT, this, that, there's something called Sora that just came out of great videos, right? Mm-hmm. It's still not there. You'll have these presentation AI support, still not there. You need to, unless you understand the business and your field, you won't be able to manage AI very well.
It's very interesting actually, because as you said, like copywriters and these people, like AI will give you like an amazing piece of art, but the soul is missing. It's weird. Like there's no soul, there's no spirit. You can't feel like the emotion behind the post.
Yes.
And a lot of people that dealt with AI will understand what I'm talking about. It's a weird feeling that there's something missing.
Yeah.
Like it looks perfect on the outside, but
I like that.
There's something definitely missing. So I'm pretty sure we fixed something, but we created a whole different problem, right?
Yeah, of course.
Of the human,
Yes. AI is a precursor to a thinking entity. Proper thinking. Right now, the AI is not a fully autonomous entity that can think for itself and teach itself. So, is that coming? Yes. And I think with quantum computing, that's going to expedite and make it faster. Once you have that, then you can say, okay, let it do its own thing. But right now, you can read a AI written topic or subject or thing that's on social media, and you know what I'm saying? The no soul, the very dry approach in writing, Sean. That said, I'll give you some hacks. You're a budding writer starting your career. Because of AI, there's some tools you don't need to learn, but there's some tools you should learn. So forget the technical knowledge of how to write a copywriting or a copy. Learn the soft skills behind what it's all about. So learn storytelling. If you are a person that's going to write press releases, go back 20, 30 years and look how it was written back then. Focus on that aspect. Focus on the storytelling aspect. Okay? And use that to help you write that next press release with the support of AI. So I use AI to help me edit. I'll write, and I'll come back edit. Then I'll remember, and I'll prompt it. Say, listen, I want this approach. I want Life magazine in 1967 when it wrote this article. I want that type of support. because of my experience, it'll give us, wow, okay, this is, now I have a format. Say, no, I want to put this and this and this. So at the end, I am writing with a ghostwriter. I am writing and it's being edited. So this is what a budding writer should also do, and utilize AI. The AI is not going to help students either. AI is going to not provide them with the knowledge and the training that they'll need for the future. It's going to dumb them down. Right? So this is the issue I have with it.
And there is a study, actually. I saw it like on one of the posts a week ago. They said that people that use AI, ChatGPT specifically, like for students and all these disciplines, they made like a brain scan, and they saw the difference between a normal person and a person that depends on AI.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there is a difference there. Like there,
wow.
And it was a big difference. Like it can, and it was like a crazy number. It was like something like it will take away 35% or 40% of your thinking power. It does a lot of damage.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure, like with years, like the more we go on, a lot of problems will start arising because of this.
Yes.
But it's still like a new thing. So, yeah.
That's interesting and scary.
Yeah. Very scary.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the advice section. What skills do you think all the young professionals in corporate communication, like what should they train themselves in, or like workshops, any place they can go into?
I think there's the most important thing is learn the core skills, okay, of corporate communications. So public speaking being one. Extremely important. The number one aspect of being a good communicator is public speaking. If you have those skills, you can talk to anyone. Okay, so find a master class or go to a course again at a university and find an amazing teacher and learn the skills. Watch those proper TEDx speakers. Look at how they move and how they talk, tone, projection, body language. Emulate them. Extremely important. Let that be your number one learning skill. And then test those skills. Test it with your friends. Try to find a speaking. Do it. That's one. 2, interpersonal communication skills. Extremely important. You have to know how to speak to people one-on-one. To win them over, to negotiate, to listen, and try to gain their empathy or gain their trust. Extremely important. Interpersonal communications is, I think, for me, one of the top most important communication skills any communicator should have. Imagine this. Imagine you've studied all the top communications initiatives, say crisis comms, media relations, but you don't have the skills to speak to people effectively. What's it worth? Then forget it. You have to be a great communicator, and the best way to test that, there's something called the elevator pitch. Have you ever heard of the elevator pitch?
No.
Okay. Imagine you have few seconds, you and your boss, in an elevator as you're walking, and you want to pitch an idea and get his reaction, a positive reaction. You've got a few seconds to sell. Now, if you're not a good interpersonal communicator, then it's not going to work. And I'll give you an example. You're my boss. We're getting in a crowded elevator. Am I going to look at you like that and then say, Sulaiman, I have a great idea. Let's do this and this with that. It's not going to work. But if I stand right next to you and we're both looking at it, and I lean in and say, Sulaiman, I have something to ask you. They're like, oh, yeah, go ahead. listen, what do you think about this? Because I really believe it's going to work out. And I'm sure that it's going to be an excellent support to your next project. And I know the strategy for Q2 is this, and this. What happens? You speak to them in a proper tone. Your body language is very comfortable. Even because you're stuck together, you're not in his face. So you're not crossing, that
you're doing like a 90% angle together. Yeah.
So that's an elevator pitch, right? You can only do it if you have a proper interpersonal comm skill. Another thing is the interpersonal communication skill helps you listen effectively. And this is something I was taught, remember, back in college. We work so hard not to listen. All we have is a rebuttal. We have something we want to say, and it's in our head. And as a person speaking, I'm, hey, well, let me tell you, so you're not listening to what that person's saying. So you're going to say gibberish, or you're going to put your point across, and that person is going to feel you're not respected because you're not listening to him. So you really need to listen, because if you don't listen, when you start speaking, what's the person going to do? He's not going to listen either. So there's that window. It's like we use it. I'm not going to listen to you. And that's what people do. So if you have a proper training into personal communication skills, that's going to be and make you a better listener and more effective communicator. So another aspect within communication that a student or a new novice in comms should really, really, really learn is how to the technical aspect, okay, learn it very well, but find a niche in it that makes you stand out more than anyone else. Okay, be that expert at work that's you can do everything well, but you're an expert in something effective in communications. You got a big department or you have a small department, doesn't matter. But people remember you for that one aspect that you know more than anyone else, and make sure you know even more than anyone else and the company. You're the number one go-to person. And this is something I would recommend every novice to learn. Be the expert in internal comms, be the expert in crisis communications, be the experts in event management. Let them say, I want Suleiman, I want Abdullah. He's the person that knows this more than anyone else. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like you have a lot of silver, but you need to have the gold at something, basically.
Yes.
You need to sharpen, you need to be very sharp at one skill. It's okay to know other fields, but you need to be really good at one spot.
Of course.
Jack of all...
master of none.
Master, yeah.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
That's not going to work.
Exactly. Especially in like it's not only the communications, like it's worldwide, but
it's worldwide, yeah.
It's definitely like more specific in this context as well, like the corporate communication world. And
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Let's talk about the mistakes you see, common mistakes in early learners, or or maybe yourself, something you did before and you regret it and you want people to avoid making that same mistake.
It's hard to answer that question because we started by saying you learn from your mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Learn from those mistakes, but don't repeat them. And that's the issue I have with even myself, is if I repeat the mistake, I'm not learning. Okay, this is something that you really need to focus on. You make that mistake, really internalize what went wrong. Okay? Going to what they should not be doing or repeating again is never take no for an answer. Doesn't matter how low and the wrong as an employee you are. Never say take no for an answer. Always pitch it again. Come back and pitch it in a way that it would be accepted. And even if it's not accepted, they'll know that your passion is there. So it's important you always be heard and seen.
What about the personal branding?
Yes.
Like how important it is
Oh
for
my
corporate communicator.
ضروري. It's,
like a LinkedIn profile or like
so
these things.
let's start by simply your attire, what you wear. Okay. As a corporate communication executive, okay, an employee, you always have to be the best dressed. Okay. Business attire, always the best. You wear a suit, look good in a suit. Dishdasha, look good in a dishdasha. Even the days that are free dress, you're the only person that's not going to wear that. أنا طول عمري, I never did free dress. I was always in uniform because this is your uniform. Okay, you have to be ready to speak to the media at any time, to employees at any time, and to management any time. لابس jeans with t-shirt. لا, على free day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the most important, self-branding you have, how people see you. 2, you always have to look the part when it comes to speaking to your stakeholders. Okay, you're given leeway sometimes, but you always have to be that part. You have to be ready. You have to look the part, and you have to say the right things, and that's your branding, personal branding, and that's going to carry on and on. And the way I brand myself, I'm an approachable person. I look the part. And I'm a hard worker. And I support. And people remember that from even back when I worked KTV2 many, many, many years ago. Just the other day, I visited some friends at Zain. And I left Zain in 2009. ورحبوا فيني. And almost hugs. And so they remember. And I had a client I was taking to Zain. And someone came up and said, Mijbil, what is that? So I started talking to that person, and then he looked at the people, like, oh, sorry, you guys here for a meeting? Let me tell you about this man, Mijbil. He's the best in his field. He knows what he's talking about. Say this, please, because of my clients. But that's it. That's going to carry on.
Long after you're gone.
Long after.
And that's really like one of the most important things to have in life.
Definitely.
Everyone will leave at some point, so you need to have your fingerprints in a good way, and people need to remember you, and when they hear your name, it just like it gives like a certain feeling, a positive feeling, like we love this guy, he did this, he helped us at some point, we trust him. All of these good things. So it's really important to build your personal brand, and it goes for all different fields. This thing is not just for corporate communication. No, it's for every different field. Your personal brand is like I would say one of the most important things.
Definitely.
One of the most important things. Yeah, definitely.
People will remember you long after what you did or said. Okay, and that's important. They'll remember you long after it was said or done. So whatever you said, they'll remember it to a point. Done, hey, he did. But they'll remember, oh yeah, I remember Sulaiman. So that's important.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a story about how I got into Ooredoo, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because it's a good segue. 2014, there's a crisis that hit Ooredoo. Okay. And it was their full right. Okay, but the way they did it and they managed what they did was wrong. I'm not going to go to how they did it. It was wrong, but how they managed what they did was ineffective. So they had the right to let go of some employees, and these employees, because they had just acquired the full company 100%, so they had to come in and lay off some employees. But then they hired more later. For a week, Ooredoo was trending negatively for a week, and they lost a lot of business, and they didn't have the proper corporate communications person to speak to the media, to manage internally their comms, and to manage the crisis overall. And I brought up a person called Dr. Hamad Naimi. He was the person proponent to hire me. Him and another person called Hani Kikhan, who was my boss at the time. I still remember this. I was at the barber, okay, and just left work, and I got a call. كنت بحلق, and it was Hani called. Hi, Mijbil, how are you? I remember I met him before. Hi, Hani, how are you? Alhamdulillah. Wait, don't tell me. You're calling me because of the screw up you guys did. خيلان قطيتها جبويها. عشان
he was shocked.
What?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be very blunt, but you guys are way late. You should have done this, and this, and this the first few minutes and hours, and a week later this. So he's like, yes, you're right. Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Can we meet? What do you mean can we meet? Oh, then it clicked. Oh, they want to hire me. So I went and I met with both of them and a few meetings, and they convinced me to join. And I joined in Jan 2015. So after 2014, we met towards the end, and I got hired. And alhamdulillah, when I first joined, there was such a huge negative image of Ooredoo. Even the employees hated the company. Imagine that. Your own employees hate working for you and feel embarrassed to tell people that where they work. We turned that around when I left, and we were one of the most engaged and loved companies by employees and by our brand equity. Many things went into it, but just simply the first thing I did was focus internally. And we really wanted people, our own employees, to come and love us again. Because if they don't feel loved, they're not going to, represent you very well. They're your first line of defense and your ambassadors. So we did small initiatives, but the biggest impact was utilizing social media, focusing on employees. And who would do that? You're getting attacked, and you're going to put those employees in front of social media. And you know what we did? We had a strategy. We called it "El Baraka B'Iyalna," loosely translated, the worth in our family. We believed in them so much that they love the company. So we just told them, tell us, why do you love this company? Itfajo. And in the beginning, it's like, well, and then to be natural, to see whatever you want. So we gave them an ability to psychologically feel better, about how they felt. And in some cases, off camera, they told us, this is not right. We feel embarrassed when we go to Duaniyas. We said, great, okay, we're working on it now. We're going to make you feel proud again. And that got them engaged. And we started this campaign. And after we did our 4th, 5th video, we could see trending, gone, negative. And internally, our employees started feeling better. It took more than a year, but eventually, we worked hard to improve the image, the brand, and the reputation of the company. So,
yeah, and it takes a while sometimes. You need to fix a lot of these small things, especially after, something big happening.
Yes.
And you need to turn the whole image around.
My God, it was interesting. But what I did also from day one when I came in, I created a policy for crisis communications, which we didn't have.
Oh, wow.
So policy and then a procedure. So policy is overall what we need to be viewed, but the most important is the procedure. Why? Because you have to create scenarios to mitigate against, and you have to build you have to systems that's going to support you to manage different types of crises, and you have to list them, and you have to have a procedure steps what to do. So one of the things we enacted immediately was create holding statements. What happens on social media when you get negatively attacked? If you don't reply within minutes, it gets bigger and compounded and bigger, retweeted, negative, you're trending negative number 1. So a few years after I created this policy and procedure for crisis comms, we had attacked at night by a group of these, I want to call them hackers, but social media pirates. What they do is they'll come up with fake news, and then you start negative trending, and you have to go and pay them money to retract. Hey.
To defame, and that's what they do. Really?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. So it's funny. They sent us a message. I replied, "No, thank you, and good luck." And I had a full system. And first of all, I said, you start with a holding statement. You say, "Listen, everyone, we're looking into this. Bear with us, and we'll sure that we'll take care of it." That gives you time to react. People hold off. Oh, okay. طلع statement. Let's listen. Then I started my campaign. I had believable, credible social media influencers. I had employees, and I had the media. And I went after these guys. And it worked out. We were trending negative for about 20 minutes. After we did all that, we were trending positive for 3 days straight. And
wow.
It had a direct impact on our bottom line. We had so many new lines sold. We had more people come in and transfer over to us because of that. So, I had solution, mitigated against, and we had a policy and procedure, and we went and followed the procedural steps exactly.
Yeah, that's really amazing. I know a lot of people will not they will just stop and hope for the best, and usually it's going to get way worse. So
definitely,
as you said,
definitely,
exactly. Okay, let's move to the future section.
Sure.
Talking about the ecosystem of consultants.
Yeah,
tell us more about that.
Let me have a sip.
Yeah, of course. And what is your vision? What do you see? And why did you come up with this idea in the first place?
I love my craft. I love the field of communications. And I'm saying it because I truly do love it. Okay. And I really love working with like-minded individuals, people that think along the same lines as myself. They don't have to be corporate communicators. Okay. They can be from different fields, but focus on communications. So you'll get the psychologist, you'll get the business strategist, you'll get the podcaster, you'll get corporate communicators. And the idea I have is to create an ecosystem, get these people together. Okay, let's talk. Let's figure out what's needed in the market, in the region. Let's create solutions. So once I have everyone together and linked together, I'm not asking them to leave their jobs. I'm asking them in the future, should we need their support and expertise, let's work together. And this is the idea. So I'm working on it now. I have a few people lined up. And if I have a major project comes in, I say, yes, I have an expert in here. I have an expert here, and I have people that can support me in this field. So this is what I'm trying to do. And why is it the region? Because I just want to choose Kuwait, منطقة الخليج عامة, because there are so many smart people in the field. Okay. Unfortunately, we have something called عقدة الخواجة. Okay. The idea of the experts in communications are all non-Arabs, Brits, Americans, Indians, Europeans. Not taking anything away from them, because a lot of them are friends and they are hardworking individuals, have done great work for the region. But I want to create a region of experts from the region for the region. I started also earlier talking about the cultural understandings, getting the knowledge culturally to support what work needs to be done. So if I choose people from the region and create that ecosystem, then we could tackle anything together, from public affairs to public relations.
Yeah, that's actually beautiful, and you're doing it for both the governmental
Yes.
and private sectors, both.
Both.
Okay.
So I have a trip soon going to Saudi, inshallah, looking at how I can support a lot of their governmental initiatives, working with Saudis. In Kuwait, we're looking at working with more companies here, but also seeing what's happening within Kuwait also for Vision 2035 or 2030. Sorry, we want to support the government sector, and part of the ecosystem are people that work in the government sector. So this is for the betterment of communicators and communications in the region. And also we want to do this also to support the initiatives that are out there. It's not it's for me, it's not a money making venture. It's to make a difference, and going back to be seen, to be heard, and all of us to be known.
It serves a greater purpose. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. Which is really beautiful, and our region needs this, and I can't tell you like the amount of things that our region needs at this time, especially like with our countries. Like Kuwait has 2035 and Saudi, they have 2030 vision, and all of our countries are trying to rise together.
Yes.
And the only way we'll do that is if we combine,
of course, our
efforts and everything to reach that, shared goal, I'd say, for the whole region.
So we're the Gulf is coming closer.
Yeah.
And this is, we see this. We all heard that in the near future, you'll have borderless movement.
Yeah.
In the GCC. So it'll be connected by a train system. All of this has to have people that can help communicate these initiatives and what's happening internally to different people, and also to manage any upcoming crisis should it happen. Okay, we saw what happened in Qatar recently. Who was managing the proper communications? It was people from everywhere managing effectively. We had governmental entities managing communications in the whole Gulf, from Qatar to Saudi to Kuwait to Bahrain, all aligned. Single message. If you look at the press releases that came out in different magazines, newspapers and digital prints, all same headlines. Okay, it's not by luck. This is a coordinated effort by governments that have proper communication staff, and this is something that we need to help and support. The Ministry of Information are working very hard to come out with a proper strategy on this. I can't get into details, but we'll hear very soon what they're doing. Mijbil Alayoub.
Beautiful. So we're at the end. It went so fast. It's really nice talking to you, to be honest. Like, we can't feel time. And any closing statements, anything you want to say, last message to the audience?
First of all, I want to thank you, Suleiman.
Appreciate it.
Truly, the reason why I'm here is because I saw interviews, but I focused a lot on you, and it's a breath of fresh air. We have people like you doing this. It's very important and engaging for me, and by the way, you're in my ecosystem. You know that, right? You're there.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Highly appreciate it. Yeah.
Hey, my Gasar, thank you so much. I want to thank you again for everything you've done for all of us in Kuwait, and what you will be doing, because I see something big for you in the future, inshallah. My parting word is to, if I may, can I look at the camera?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, this is for you, budding communicators, the beginning of those people that are starting communications from middle school, high school, in college, university, and freshly graduated. You'll find many obstacles in your way. Don't stop. Push through. Be that person that never agrees to the word no. Work really hard. Learn how to communicate effectively. Be genuine. Be seen. Be heard. And be known. Thank you.
Wow. That's really powerful.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, man. And thank you again for joining. Had a lot of fun with you. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people will learn from what you had to say today in corporate communication and outside as well.
I have a LinkedIn account. Hopefully you can join me. But if you want to get in touch with me, you can through LinkedIn. I'll reply and support anyone who needs support in communications.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Okay, and thank you guys for joining. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Please don't forget to subscribe and share this with your friends and family. See you next time. Have a good one.